Thank you, Mr. President. I rise this evening to talk about Black History Month, in particular, to talk about a program that my office has been presenting every February for many years now. Each February, it's been my privilege to honor several Pennsylvanians as part of the celebration of Black History Month. This year, we pay tribute to 4 esteemed Pennsylvanians who have helped their community and the Commonwealth build resilience. And I'll list them first, and then I'll be talking about each of them in greater detail. First, Tyrone Holmes from my hometown of Pennsylvania, or of Scranton, Pennsylvania. Della of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Julius Boatwright of Pittsburgh, and Theo Bratty of Harrisburg. All Pennsylvanians, and their work is demonstrative of this year's theme for our program, resilience in the face of adversity, as their persistence and strength has helped their communities surmount significant difficulties this year. Their enduring leadership is an encouragement to me after a year where, sadly, resilience has been sorely needed throughout our Commonwealth and throughout our country. Now, in some ways, we've made some progress in the last year. Just consider this: the national economy created 6.7 million jobs, the most ever in the first year of a presidency. Pennsylvania's unemployment rate went way down from 7.1 to 5.4. Tens of thousands of jobs have been added just in Pennsylvania. Wages are up, and child poverty is down. The number of fully vaccinated Americans has increased from 2 million to 213 million in just the last year. And we have more tools to manage COVID-19 and keep us safe. And finally, the number of schools open for in-person learning has skyrocketed from just 46% a year ago to now 95% of schools. Some believe it's as high as 98%. However, despite those measures of progress, we're still grappling with so much, grappling with a virus that is adaptable and still deadly, especially for people with pre-existing health conditions, and even more so for those who are unvaccinated. And as COVID-19 has lingered, so too have the attendant direct effects. Our schools still struggle to teach our kids and to maintain the regularity that is critical to learning. Our businesses must contend with fluctuating demand and a fragile supply chain. Many of our children have fallen behind on their other critical vaccinations and routine doctor visits. Many children and adults struggle with isolation and pandemic-related mental health challenges. We know that much of the adverse impact of COVID-19 has been particularly acute for communities of color. In the United States, Black Americans have experienced higher rates of COVID-19 hospitalization and death compared to white Americans. And Black Americans have had higher levels of COVID-19 related unemployment. Beyond the pandemic, other challenges remain. Systemic racism persists in our economy, in our schools, in our healthcare system, and of course in our criminal justice system, just to mention a few. And even as we strive as a nation to achieve our high ideals of liberty and freedom for all, we must openly acknowledge a history of discrimination and racism and reckon with its present-day manifestations and implications, including disturbing efforts around the country to turn back the clock on voting rights. It is only the challenges brought about by adversity that occasion the rise of resiliency and the triumphs of the human spirit and of community action that can lift all of us. The late member of Congress, Shirley Chisholm, once said, quote, "Leadership is to have the vision for what is necessary and the courage to make it possible." The leadership is to have the vision for what is necessary and the courage to make it possible. Following a year of difficult challenges, it's fitting that as part of our Black History Month celebration, we honor innovative, courageous, and enterprising Pennsylvania leaders who have both the vision and the courage to help our communities and our Commonwealth to exhibit resilience in the face of that adversity. Let me start with Ty Holmes, our first honoree. I'm proud to honor Ty as a fellow resident of Scranton and the president of the Lackawanna County branch of the NAACP. Ty Holmes is well known in Scranton as an avid volunteer and advocate for diversity and inclusion through his work with multiple community organizations, including as a Penn State Advisory Board member, the vice president of the Scranton Rotary, and as a Lackawanna County Democratic Committee member. Following the death of George Floyd in 2020, community members were inspired to make change in northeastern Pennsylvania and established the Lackawanna County NAACP. Since its founding in 2020, this NAACP branch has grown to 131 members. Under Ty Holmes' leadership, the branch is working to be a voice for underrepresented groups and serve as a bridge between them and the broader community in Scranton. Ty also has a particular interest in bettering the lives of young people in Scranton, leading him to run for the Scranton School Board. This past November, he was elected to the board and sworn in last month. With his election, Ty Holmes becomes the first African American to ever be elected to public office in the city of Scranton. He also serves as a board member for the Northeastern Pennsylvania Youth Shelter, which provides a quality emergency shelter and related services to unaccompanied youth ages 14 through their high school graduation. The Northeastern Pennsylvania Youth Shelter has a specific focus on social justice and advocacy and is welcoming to young people from all backgrounds, especially LGBTQ plus youth in the area. Ty Holmes' life has been one of service, both to his community and to his country. He retired after 25 years of active duty in the United States military, received numerous decorations from both the United States Navy and the United States Army. He began his military career in 1991 with the Navy and served in various duty stations throughout the South Pacific and the Middle East. In 2003, he crossed branches and entered the United States Army deploying in the Middle East. He has also worked as part of the support and rescue operations in New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Through his work with many community organizations and his role on the Scranton School District Board of Directors, Ty continues to build the Scranton institutions that provided support to people and those institutions that lift them up during times of adversity. So I look forward to seeing Ty Holmes' continuing contributions to my hometown for years to come. Second, our second honoree, Della Clark from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Della Clark is a true community shepherd. I'm not the first to recognize Della's exemplary work, and I certainly won't be the last, but I'm honored to add my voice to her chorus of admirers. Her work in the city of Philadelphia, particularly in West Philadelphia, has undoubtedly been a saving grace 100 times over. Della is indefatigable, a true force of nature, who has shown true dedication and steadfast leadership. Since January the 1st of 1992, Della Clark has served as president of the Enterprise Center. This center supports minority entrepreneurs and under-resourced communities and is one of the most trusted organizations in the region to advise and deliver transformative economic development and community wealth building initiatives. Under Della's leadership, the Enterprise Center has experienced tremendous growth. Among its accomplishments is its purchase of a dilapidated building at 46th and Market Street in West Philadelphia, which was completely renovated and now serves as the center's state-of-the-art center for business and entrepreneurship. Additionally, affiliate organizations have been added to the center's portfolio, including the Enterprise Center Community Development Corporation and the Enterprise Center Capital Corporation. Today, the Enterprise Center is leading a project that will be transformative for the city of Philadelphia, the 52nd Street Initiative. This commercial corridor along 52nd Street in West Philadelphia has been an important historical and cultural hub, but unfortunately has seen significant decline and recent disinvestment just over the last number of years. Further exacerbating the already existing troubles for business owners and residents, the COVID-19 pandemic and civil unrest have made recovery and revitalization challenging at best. The Enterprise Center has a bold vision for this 52nd Street initiative, which will transform this street, 52nd Street, into a national model for integrating technology to improve public safety, enhance visitor experience, and support businesses and residents. With Della Clark at the helm, I'm confident she will move mountains to see to it that this project reaches its full potential and that this vital neighborhood and its residents can thrive once again. Della Clark speaks eloquently yet fiercely on the importance of investing in Black and brown businesses and is a tireless advocate for equitable distribution of and access to resources and capital. For that, I thank her for being a champion, a leader, and a true servant for her community. In southwestern Pennsylvania, our third honoree, Julius Boatwright. Not only has the pandemic taken a toll on the nation's physical health, but many Americans have struggled with mental health challenges, particularly isolation and grief. Julius Boatwright knows that good mental health is foundational to overall well-being. He has made delivering critical mental health services his life's work. At a time when the pandemic has left many Americans feeling isolated, alone, or depressed, Julius's mission has renewed urgency. In his work as a licensed social worker, community-based therapist, and outpatient therapist, Julius Boatwright has led with profound vulnerability and understanding. His passion for mental health is derived from a deeply personal place. Julius has bravely discussed his own mental health struggles in an effort to open up a conversation about mental well-being. His experience of growing up in a household and a community where mental health was never talked about planted the desire for him to address silent suffering. In college, the death of a friend by suicide could have disrupted Julius's journey to becoming a mental health professional. Instead, this deeply personal challenge spurred him onward. He would go on to earn a bachelor's degree in communications and a master's of social work with a certificate in human services management from the University of Pittsburgh, as well as establish the Pittsburgh-based nonprofit Steel Smiling. Julius is now the founder and managing director of Steel Smiling. The organization's mission is to bridge the gap between Black people and mental health support through education, advocacy, and awareness. Steel Smiling has an ambitious goal to connect every Black person in Pittsburgh to a positive mental health experience that improves their quality of life by the year 2030. Julius's empathy and vision is encouraging and inspiring, and I look forward to witnessing the transformative impact of his work. Steel Smiling has already begun to improve the mental well-being of Pittsburgh's Black community. Since 2019, the organization has been a significant provider of community services, helping Black Pittsburghers to receive mental health treatment, training, and support. The implementation of culturally sensitive programs, trainings, and workshops have helped combat the cultural stigma that exists in Black and brown communities surrounding mental health. The need for sensitive, stigma-free mental health support is a long-standing one, but there has been a long gap between the need for services and the availability of them. Furthermore, the COVID-19 pandemic has even more starkly illustrated the critical need for behavioral health services, especially for people of color. So I'm grateful to Julius for not just recognizing the need, but for stepping up and working to address critical community need. And finally, Theo Bratty, our fourth honoree. Theo is from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and he's the personification of resilience in the face of adversity. And I'm honored to recognize him today. At the age of 15, Theo was involved in an accident while playing high school football, and the resulting neck injury left him paralyzed and a wheelchair user. This life-changing experience would become a catalyst for his future work in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. After his accident, Theo moved to Pennsylvania and completed high school. He furthered his education by graduating from Edinburgh University in Erie County, and then he earned his master's degree in social work from Temple University in 1988. Later that year, Theo Bratty established and became the founding director of the Center for Independent Living of Central Pennsylvania, a position he held for over 30 years. As CEO, Theo was instrumental in creating an independent living center that would become a strong and vibrant voice for people with disabilities in Central Pennsylvania and indeed throughout the Commonwealth. Under Theo's leadership, the Center for Independent Living of Central Pennsylvania not only provided essential services for people with disabilities, but has also advocated for accessible transportation, more access to assistive technology, and expanded home and community-based services. Theo crafted his leadership role to both create services for people with disabilities and to advocate to improve the lives of people with disabilities. In addition to his work leading the center, Theo has served on numerous boards and committees over his career, influencing disability policy. He was appointed by 3 different governors of Pennsylvania to serve as a commissioner for the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission. Theo also served on the Pennsylvania statewide Independent Living Council. He has taken his years of service and advocacy to the classroom to help shape the disability leaders of the future, teaching at several institutions of higher education. For example, in 2019, after leading the Center for Independent Living of Central Pennsylvania for those 30 years, Theo retired to begin his next venture. Today, Theo served as president of his own consulting firm. I've had the opportunity to work with Theo on a number of disability issues over the years, and his professional and personal knowledge about the importance of home and community-based services has been invaluable in shaping meaningful policy and communicating it to members of Congress. For over 40 years, Theo has proudly and inclusively served the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania with his advocacy for people with disabilities. We're grateful for his commitment to making our state and our nation fairer and more accessible for all. So, Mr. President, in conclusion, it's a privilege and a pleasure to be able to honor these remarkable Pennsylvanians: Ty Holmes, Della Clark, Julius Boatwright, and Theo Bratty. While their work as repairers of the breach varies from community activism and youth development to economic development to mental health support to the civil rights of people with disabilities, all 4 share a commitment to lifting up their neighbors and their neighborhoods. They believe that we are stronger when we stand together, and that by joining hands with our brothers and sisters, we can overcome adversity, build resilience, and flourish together. As we head toward the light at the end of the tunnel of this pandemic and continue to strive to ensure the ideals of our nation are fulfilled for all Americans, the stories of these exceptional leaders will continue to inspire all of us to pursue a brighter tomorrow for America.